The following content contains explicit language and is intended for a mature audience. Listener discretion is advised.
Futile.
Hey guys, what's going on? We're here at our first comedy podcast. We've got a motley crew to kick us off.
Can I be Tommy Lee?
You look
he was
like
the one
Tommy
with the
Lee.
big dick, right?
Yeah. He had the big dick, and I think he always wore the bandana. But I think usually it was like a black bandana.
Well, I'm wearing the bandana because my hair is slowly receding, and I got to keep the dream alive.
So, like, if we were to take that bandana off, there wouldn't be anything there.
No, I'm thinking about just going full like wig eventually, just like shaving the whole thing. You know, just like
You
wearing
gotta go
wigs.
like purple wig though, just like make it completely obvious. Like don't even care.
I'm going Peggy Bundy, I think. You know, I gotta
nice.
keep with the red hair.
I don't know. I think you should go with the Shaq forehead.
The Shaq foot. I saw that.
That's pretty notoriously awesome.
So that's Dirty Ron McDonald and also Wesley Dwaine, who's been on the program before. And we're kicking off a new podcast series called, we decided, The Last Taco. Is that the final?
I thought it was the fourth taco. We're going with last taco? All right, fine.
I don't know what I think the fourth taco would be better than the last taco from a actual eating standpoint. But the last taco, I mean, it kind of, I think
it makes me feel like we're fighting for the last taco.
Exactly.
So,
and who knows what that last taco is going to look like, right? It
or
could
taste like.
Yeah, she could have shaved it or like just left it like fucking all hippy dippy.
Yeah.
And
you know, and what were we doing with these tacos? You know, were we enjoying tacos amongst friends, or were we out? You know, just.
And when it's the last taco, like how many tacos did you begin with, right? Like did everybody get one or two or three? Like how many tacos do you usually eat in a setting?
How many tacos are thrown away from a restaurant?
Hold on, let's ask the more important question. What is a real taco? The hard shell or the soft shell? Let's see how white you guys are.
No, definitely soft shell Baja style, dude. Rosarita beach taco, you know?
Straight up. Yeah. I finally figured that out once I moved out here, what real Mexican food is. You know, being from the Midwest, they tell you this hard shell Taco Bell shit is like Mexican food. And I'm like, come on, you know, like in St. Louis, we think we have better Chinese food than China does. So, you know, to see Mexican food ill represented like that, it pains
No, I mean
me.
the Mexican food anywhere but sort of the southwestern US and parts of Texas, like that's it. Like it's crappy everywhere else.
Can everybody else hear this music? Is anybody else getting a weird boner because they feel like they're at a massage parlor right now?
We're definitely getting
It's like a Pavlovian response. Right?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Anybody else? Just me? All right, my bad.
Well, we were going to do the
I'm a
Chicky
degenerate
Wawa.
piece of
We were going to
shit,
do the
so.
Chicky Wawa music, but we went with this instead, which is our standard fare.
Yeah.
I think you got this just a test to see how fucking perverted I am.
Well, and our apologies to you. We were able to get 3 Thai girls and 1 lady boy, so.
Hey, whatever's clever, man. You know, like, you only see them from the waist up anyway. Hey, whatever you can be, whatever you want to be, as long as I'm coming. At the
Well,
end.
he's looking from the back anyway, so he won't even notice. What's the most number of tacos that you've ever eaten? Like, can you think of like I did a little taco contest with the boys down in Mexico, like, I don't know, 30 years ago, like right at the end of college. And I think I put down like 13 or 14, something like that.
Is there spicy sauce involved or just normal run-of-the-mill taco?
Well, look, I mean, they're true Baja tacos, you know, so it might be, I think some were carne asada, some were carnitas. I like lengua, so I went for a couple of those. So
The day was October 6th, 2013.
No,
I was
like,
in Los Angeles.
1983. This is you?
I was in Los Angeles at...
What was the date?
It was October 6th.
How do you know this?
2013.
Either a breakup or a birthday or something.
Yeah, really.
And my buddy,
shit my pants.
my buddy Eric and I, we went to Cabo Cantina in Venice,
And I puked and I kept going. Fuck it.
and it was the all-you-can-eat tacos for $5.
Oh, God.
And so we had a race to see who could eat the
Who
most
could eat the
tacos.
most? I'm sure that's happened there before.
And I took 17 down.
17. That's
Impressive.
legit.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How'd you feel the next day?
How'd you feel? Well, how'd you feel 5 minutes after?
I was feeling great because at the time I was about 60 pounds heavier, so I had a lot more room to digest.
Oh, yeah. You're looking svelte these days.
Yeah, thanks.
You
You know,
like-
not as many tacos. I only eat 1 or 2 now.
Are you getting on the, you doing Pilates or?
Yeah, what's your
What's your
routine,
fad?
Wes? What's your routine these days? What are you doing?
To keep
I
that,
can't-
that
I
firm
can't-
physique.
I can't mention their names.
Okay.
What corner do they sell themselves
I think
at?
we're talking
right?
Thai ladyboy here.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about your kind of comedy journey, Dirty Ronald McDonald. So did you wake up one day and decide you wanted to be a comedian and started working on it, or were you just always funny growing up? Or
I was always funny looking. Started there.
yeah.
I look like a little orphan Annie fucked Carrot Top, you know, like for anybody that can't see the video. No, I've been a professional wrestler for 20 years. Something I always dreamed about being. And then as I got further along in that, I was like, well, what else can I do to not have a real job? So, you know, like I'm 36 years old. So like 11 years ago, I got these forearm tattoos. And when I first started getting jobs, it was like, if you had forearm tattoos, like you couldn't get a real job. So that was me telling myself, fuck this, I'm going balls deep into this entertainer thing.
Yeah, that was like you burning your boats behind you, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, pushing all the
exactly.
chips to the middle.
Yeah, that's right. I like
fucking,
that.
You know, I'm all in on it, and you know, I've worked really hard. I've gone broke several times. I've had an incredible journey, and now I'm out here on the West Coast, living a block from the beach with a fine fiance, living my fucking dreams.
Now, how do you like go broke in comedy? Because like, like that kind of assumes like that you got some money at some way, but it always seems like in comedy, like you never make money till you make money. Like,
Well,
you don't go broke in
Dude,
comedy, then start over and go broke again.
anybody
Or
that
do you?
does like nobody, even the people that you think are doing comedy as a living aren't doing comedy as a living. They might do different aspects of comedy for their living, writing or fucking, you know, producing shows,
Birthday
or,
parties.
you know, or, yeah, fucking corporate
Corporate
gigs,
gigs,
dude.
yeah.
Goddamn,
Right.
like it's the worst when I get asked to do like, can you do, you know, like I'll try to get booked for some shows and they'll be like, can you do 15 minutes of clean comedy? And I'm like, yeah, but I don't fucking want to, you know, like,
Right.
like and that's the beauty of the way that I've always set myself up, is that I've set myself up to be able to kind of work for myself and pick my own gigs.
Now, your answer there could just be smashing them right in the mouth with your 2 tattooed forearms.
I mean, you
since
know,
you're a wrestler, like it wouldn't be that out of character, right?
you know, there's a reason I live out in San Diego, not where I'm from. I burned a lot of fucking bridges out there. So, you know, like there is a trail of fire behind me.
And where did you grow up? You mentioned
St. Louis, Missouri.
Oh, St. Louis.
Yeah.
That's an interesting place.
It's very, very segregated out there, and you know, it's not my cup of tea.
Do you
know?
think of it as the Midwest? Like,
I do. Everybody out here calls it the East Coast, though. Anything east
What?
of Denver's, dude. Anything east of Denver out here to some people,
I'd
like,
say
oh,
it's
you're
fair.
from the East
That's
Coast.
fair.
Interesting.
because you're from the East Coast.
Yeah,
so
yeah. So that's very jarring.
you
to
know,
hear.
yeah.
You've never, where were you from?
I'm from Jersey.
Yeah, okay, so you're from the real East Coast.
Yeah, yeah.
So like when people are like, you know, they're like, oh, what's your accent from? I'm like, St. Louis. They're like, oh, that's like East Coast. I'm like, no, the fuck it's not.
First of all, there's no coast. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
hey, let's start
fucking
there.
St. Louis.
12 hours from any coast.
Yeah, in fact, you're like directly in the middle of all the shit. You know,
Do
like,
rivers have coasts? Because if they're,
I
if
think
they
a river
do,
does have a coast.
So then there are
Kinda.
coasts. Because I feel like if the river has coasts, then there is a coastline through St. Louis.
That is possible, but we'll have to check that.
We'll have to get our semantic
We'll have to get
judges
the
in here. and
Scrabble
then-
I was
dictionary.
gonna say
out.
that
the
word, but I
score.
hate fucking saying words and it sounded dumb, like using the wrong fucking word.
You
You
just
know,
gotta
That
fucking
was
gamble
risky.
and take
That
a
was,
chance.
yeah, that was risky for him.
Straight up, oh no, dude, I am dumb. Like I don't know words, you know what I'm saying? But like if somebody uses a word that I don't know, you know, like I don't read fucking books, you know what I'm saying? Like if somebody uses a word, like I can usually tell what the word is by how they use it in a sentence, you know, and then when they use it in a sentence, I know for sure that they're an asshole.
So you're growing up freakishly clownish looking in
Thank
St.
you.
Louis.
Thank you,
and,
Mr. Used Car Salesman, motherfucker over here.
Hey,
You look like you're gonna try to sell me a warranty after this.
well, it could happen. I've got your handle.
The night
here.
is young.
Oh,
At
God.
Dirty Ronald McDonald. No, Ron.
Can you read? How
No,
drunk are
not
you?
very well. Well, I just want to point out
Fucking-
it's at Dirty Ron McDonald.
It is. It is.
So some people might throw that extra ALD in there. Ald.
They would be wrong.
Wesley, what do you think of when you hear Ald?
I begin to think of
German
the
guy.
grocery store Aldi's, and I think about cheap canned food.
What's your favorite cheap canned food?
Green beans.
Green beans.
Rough choice.
I was gonna say, like, I thought you were gonna say spam.
Can of corn.
I mean, are you guys ridiculously just losing yourselves and you're all, just crazy or what? Like
I don't eat that shit out of a can.
First off, corn has no true substance for your body, so you're just basically buying something that has no
I had no idea Wes
nourishments.
was a fucking
that you
scientist.
ingest and then crap out.
Yeah.
It has no nutrients.
See, he's been studying his nutrition. That's how he lost the weight. He just
Oh, is
hasn't-
that why you get corn in your shit for real? Are you okay?
Yeah.
See, I don't read things. I notice things though.
Hey, I'm
observant.
not a big reader. I listen to audiobooks, but even then I have troubles with the listening part.
So what are you observing right now about the coronavirus? It seems like this is getting some attention.
It's bullshit.
It's very racist.
No, I think anything that is trying to cause some mass hysteria is, I do my Wikipedia and YouTube research. Okay, so I'm an expert on this shit.
I don't know what to believe here.
No, I don't know what to believe either. Like coming from a world of professional wrestling, I'm generally skeptical of everything because, like I was talking to Wes on the way here, like I think that I don't know if you can control the way they elicit emotion, or how you can get them to feel one way or feel a different way. It's a very powerful tool.
Yeah.
And I think that
whatever you use that for, right?
Exactly.
Just that ability to move people.
To make them feel something, to make them feel fear. And I feel like this coronavirus is caused to make people feel fear. It's definitely not. Like how many people are really dying from this shit? More people died from car accidents since we've been talking here than have died in the whole United States.
But not only that, but if you look at the stats on it, right, you've got the flu, which kills 1% of people that it infects. And my understanding is it's sort of skewed towards people that are either weak.
Yeah, but if you're not fucking whores, you're not going to die from AIDS, though. You know what I'm saying? How many people are really getting infected?
I'm agreeing with you. So then you say, okay, so this coronavirus is 2%, meaning that you have a 2% probability. The SARS virus, years back, I've heard anywhere from 8 to 10%, right? So that was a much more lethal thing. But even then, like, nobody in this room, it'd be very unlikely, even if you got it, to die. You would just feel
we're all
shitty.
pretty healthy.
Yeah, that's the point. You
Well,
just,
and
have,
not
you just
only-
have a bad flu.
Not only that, but there are arguments to be made that, it's not the actual flu virus or SARS that actually kills you. It's the other
It's them being
items.
pussy.
No, it's the other things that kill you, like pneumonia or, you have some sort of cancer or some, your immunities are already
your
broken
immunity's
down.
low. Yeah. But you mentioned a couple things. So you mentioned earlier, I think before we went on air, that you thought it was, you just said it was racist, but then off air you said that it was an economic.
Well, yeah, it's a trade disruptor.
Yeah, that's what you said. Yeah, and I agree with you. I think you might be onto something there.
Because all of our products are made in China. We've been getting raped economically for the last 20 years with all the trade deals we've done. Yeah, we're getting stuff cheap as all get out, but does it last?
But maybe some jobs.
Wait,
have
I
been
thought this
lost
comedy
and-
podcast was supposed to be funny.
But
Well, it is kind of funny though, because it's kind of funny like how the fucking government like manipulates us, and whether it's our government or world
Anybody can
governments
be manipulated.
it's actually just talking about what you're talking about, which is like it's moving somebody to action.
For sure. And that's what pro wrestling has taught me, that most of the entire world is built like pro wrestling, meaning that it's put off as something that it's not really.
Understood.
And when I started as a wrestler, we were still acting like it was real. Like we couldn't go out there. Like if you got caught talking bad about the business, then some of the old vets would beat your ass in the ring or hold a submission hold on a little too tight or something like that. I don't know. I just feel like, especially when somebody's trying to, or anything or any entity is trying to shove something down your throat, there's a reason for that.
Yeah, right.
Coronavirus. Like what?
I will
Why?
say this: if we want America to stop drinking, let's just keep naming it after beer and alcohol.
I think this is a ploy by the Anheuser-Busch company, because they're like, you know what? We're going to talk shit about the competitor.
Yeah, how much you want to
We're
bet
gonna
that
take
Corona
over.
beer sales
Yep.
have dropped?
Oh yeah,
without a doubt.
40%. Yeah.
You already hit the stats
And then-
are already
That
up.
shows you how fucking dumb most people are.
Exactly, right? Like
And
how
then-
gullible they are.
Exactly. Their emotions can be skewed one way. or
Little
another.
Bugs Bunny reference there.
And
by the
then
way.
why is-
gullible?
Why is there a mask monopoly? Is there nobody else on this world that's like, oh, I think masks are a good thing to make. I'm going to start a company and make masks. No, there's only one company in the whole world that makes masks. How is that?
Is that right?
Yeah, and they're in
Do they have
France.
the patent on it?
No, they're the only
I
ones
saw
that
some
make them.
video, and they like had the guys like triple running the line. You know, everybody's like working, staying up late. Their eyes are all big because they've been drinking caffeine and
Doing blow.
doing blow,
Doing mask blow.
doing.
You just put it right
How do
in
you
the
do
mask.
blow? Yeah, how do you do blow through the mask?
You just put it
Put
in
it
the
in the
inside.
Put it
of
on the mask.
on the mask.
Put it on.
You pepper it on the mask, and you just like
I mean,
breathe it
allegedly.
all. Breathe
Allegedly.
It all, breathe
Allegedly,
it the whole
yeah.
shift. Yeah,
Allegedly.
exactly.
And then they have those oscillating fans, and so every time the fan comes to your face, it blows up in you.
That's why they call it blow. But, I was thinking about, some of the things I've been hearing. I'm going, well, like maybe somebody knows that the economy in this country is going to be shitty next year. So it's going to be the perfect excuse to say in your quarterly reports, well, we were impacted by the coronavirus, right? So we're Apple and our sales were down, 15%.
Dude, I've heard like big events.
Oh.
WrestleMania is being threatened to be shut down in Tampa this year because of the coronavirus.
I was having
What the
lunch
fuck?
today with the head of smart cities for
Humble brag.
Yeah, thanks. I understand. But there's a point. For Cisco, he says there's a global travel ban right now. Effectively, no one from Cisco is traveling. So they had a whole contingent going to South by Southwest. Every person that was going to go to South by Southwest at Cisco pulled out. So imagine like the impact on hotel rooms. And he was saying everyone's doing it, like everybody in tech,
I'd be so pissed if I get to go to South by Southwest for free on the company dime that gets pulled away for some virus that's not even like really making
Mike's like, hey, I'm going, but he's like, it's so rough to like get a travel vouch, if you will, because you got to go up the chain, and everyone's like lead by example, so nobody wants anybody to travel. But again, like, is that like corporations going, hey, what a great way to cut
Save money.
15% from the budget this 2 quarters, right?
Well, I think we should just all meditate and use our minds, and we'll be able to get over this.
Well, Mercury's in retrograde, guys. That's why all this shit's going down right now. Don't you
Gotta
know?
ride it out.
Just check your chakras, brah. I live in Ocean Beach, so I hear all that shit all the time from hairy armpit women and
Do you
stuff,
get assaulted by crystals on the daily?
But absolutely. You can't fucking skate by the pier without getting hit by 30 guys selling the same crystals. I don't even know, and I'm pretty sure they're all just fronts for fucking selling drugs anyway, so.
So what's crazy, like, the OB scene, like it's totally a different homeless vibe over there, right? Like sort of homeless by choice, homeless by lifestyle. It's the closest thing of like homeless by lifestyle that I see.
I'll suck my own dick for a second. We made 100
Brag.
meals.
Little brag
For
there.
sure. It's a big brag. We made 100 meals and handed them out to the homeless. I don't see the homeless thing as necessarily a problem in a negative way. Like I've been around crazy people all my life, like it's not nearly as bad as people. There's another thing. Like, I've been living there for over a year now. I've lived in San Diego for 3 years, and like I've been in places where poverty is really bad. I've seen Skid Row in LA a lot, so for people to say that it's a growing problem or it's a negative, like I don't see that at all.
It's kind of lightweight too. You're saying
It's
like
super lightweight.
I remember growing up and going
There's
through
nobody
Skid
coming
Row.
around with fucking
Yeah,
shovels
right,
and like,
exactly,
I'm
right.
trying to kill everybody, talking to
Right.
themselves in 5 different voices. It's not nearly as bad, but I'm sure there's a lot of trust fund kids. Like you'll see people with like one sandal and like fucking their pants half down, and you don't know whether they're worth $10 million or 10 cents. Like that.
That is the thing about OB.
It's OB,
Yeah,
baby.
that's right.
It's OB. Welcome to OB. I love it though. It's the coolest neighborhood I've ever been to and ever lived in my entire life, without a doubt, by far.
How does it compare to like Venice, California? Because it has a similar vibe, but Venice is
Less plastic.
Hey, have you guys heard about this plastic vortex spot on the Earth where like all the plastic collects, and it's in a part of the ocean because of the tidal drifts? The plastic literally from every part, I mean, obviously stuff washes up in other places, but you go to this area and it's somewhere out, I think, in the Indian Ocean, and it's just like full of plastic. And I thought for the longest time, it's like, oh, like literally, like people say it's like an island of plastic. And I saw pictures of it. There's some YouTube videos, and it's more like this plastic is floating like in this like soup, plastic soup.
Is
And
it
this
like the
plastic
edge
soup,
of flat Earth? Is that what it's
kind of, like that's what I'm thinking.
That's what I heard from Shaq.
But that would be it. It's like, it turns out the world is fucking flat, and that's where you fall off. That's where it starts to get mushy. Because like literally because of the tidal coast, this plastic just kind of binds up there and it doesn't go anywhere. You can't get rid of it. It's fucking plastic.
How cool would it be if Lego came with a big old Lego boat and picked up all that plastic?
And then you could just manufacture on site, kind of like the old sardine boats used to do. You like go and pick up the sardines, like fry them up right there and can them right on the boat,
Yeah, and then make like Lego fishes and then do a catch and release program.
I like that idea. Shit. So, anyways, I mean,
You're an idea man, Wes. You're an idea man for sure.
big ideas. So,
ideas.
Wes, talk a little bit about Ride Play and some of the comedy work that you're producing content-wise, because I've seen some of your stuff and it's hilarious.
Well, basically, we only get, 5 to 10 minutes to really, keep someone's attention, if that, because people are gnats these days.
You said 5
You
to
mean
10
like-
seconds, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You mean like when you're in the back of an Uber or Lyft, which is where your product is?
Yeah,
largely?
exactly. So it's very visual, so a lot of big movements, a lot of, visual comedy. And we're trying to, incorporate lifestyle content as well as, new age content, which is kind of taking the nuances of the past and bringing it into the future. So
What does that mean, new age content? What's the context?
And what's
of
the style? Are these mostly like stand-up sets, improv, like sketches? Like what kind of content can people find?
we're going to have a little bit of everything. I'm curating a lot of content. Like, as we speak, we're curating content for, the podcast and, developing podcast content to run in the backseat, hence why we, videotape. Improv definitely is something. I would love to get like a dry bar humor style content where I get, a 3-minute hot set from a comedian and then, turn around and rev share back to the comedian, some of the ad spend. Because at the end of the day, for me, I just love creating and I love to entertain other people. And I love to see other people's dreams be succeeded. So if I can grab people like Mikey and, bring them to
I
the
didn't
podcast.
allow him to, but he did. But
Yeah. It was more of a
I
reach
gave him
around.
consent.
But it might be interesting to do like after the official podcast when we end it is have them do like 3 minutes and then just see how it works, because that might be
Oh,
great-
to no
great
audience?
content.
God damn, you guys.
What do we chop fucking liver?
No. Just fucking.
It's just-
telling-
it's
We're
rough.
a very diverse audience.
I can see that. 2 white guys and a questionable over there.
No, yeah. Anything less than 15 people, it's hard to really do your set.
Is that right?
Yeah.
It's interesting. Like, do you get a certain feeling like when you're doing it? To
Well, you
three
get the
people?
energy from the crowd, and so if you got one person out of 20 people that's engaged, you're winning because you found that person. But you have to win them over, and if you don't
You gotta
have
go into a mindset too. I mean, doing comedy, it's like it's not just like, okay. So let me give you, for instance, I've toured the country doing music. I've been a pro wrestler for 20 years, and I've been doing comedy for real for the last 6 years. When somebody plays a fucking riff, everybody's like, yay, I can't do that. When somebody sees me slam a 450-pound dude, they're like, yay, I can't do that. Good, that's awesome. When when you see a shitty comedian do comedy and bomb, you're like, fuck that asshole, I can do that shit. I can go out there and be funny. I'm funnier around my friends, and that's what it's all about. It's that atmosphere. If I'm doing 6 to 12 sets a week like I've been doing for the last 6 years, I mean, most of those are being done to places that aren't a general comedy audience. It's only when I'm doing the main stage at the comedy clubs is the audience even there to see comedy. Like, you got to get your reps in though.
Yeah.
So
Like at bars, like at different spots. Like it's just hard to find a room with like a live audience.
I run 3 open mics every week, and I have a weekly comedy show at the Madhouse Comedy Club on the main stage every Saturday night. So those are 4 shows every week that I produce. So I'm able to get my reps in doing that. But tonight, like when we leave here, I got an open mic at Hess Brewery in Ocean Beach. There's going to be 10 people that are sitting there, none of which knew that they were going to hear comedy for
They
the
didn't
next
come.
2 hours.
They came to drink or socialize or whatever.
And the comedians that go up aren't going to be like, oh, this is where I want to do my best shit. This is where they want to practice their stuff out. So this is where you're going to see the most fuck ups, and like people just not give a shit. And then that encourages your audience to not give a shit if the comedian isn't giving a shit. So like it's all in that. That's why to do, like, when you guys like do a little bit of comedy, like that is my worst nightmare. Because the chances that I'm not gonna give a shit if I start bombing, like, you guys aren't gonna give a shit. Like, it's
part of like the art form is like the tightrope, right? Because like when you're in front of a live audience that's there, so you don't know if they're when you're working stuff out, you don't know whether it's going to work or not.
Right.
That's like the thrill. Like that's what you go after. And when you don't have that thrill, you're not going to have the same energy behind it. And you're not going to have the same.
And
they're not going to land the
bigger
same.
kick in the dick too is that when I do a bit that I know works to an audience that doesn't give a shit, and then it doesn't work to them, but it's a bit that I have done 100 times at the comedy club that gets fucking laughs and applause breaks and shit, but I do that same joke to an open mic audience and they don't give me that reaction, then I'm like, why the fuck am I even here?
Yeah,
you know,
it's like bad information because the thing works, but like you're getting the feedback that it doesn't.
For sure. And that's a whole lot of comics when they start comedy, they're not even doing comedy to an actual comedy audience. They're doing comedy to an audience that didn't even know they were a new comedian. It fucking took me like a year before he was even in front of a real comedy audience. And it was 400 people that all paid $10 to be there. And I had to slow down my jokes because I was getting laugh breaks and shit that I wasn't used to. Bam, 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 running through my fucking jokes at some shit bar.
I was going to ask about that. Like, so it seems like this is exactly how all comedians work their stuff out. Like if you're in the business, right? Like I was listening to the Rogan, Kevin Hart podcast, and they were both talking. This is exactly what they do. Like
both moguls right
yeah,
there.
And
they
said,
know what the fuck they're doing.
Yeah, and he says that Kevin Hart said it's a 2-year cycle for him, that to get his 1 hour material, which is no small feat, it's a 2-year process for him.
Sure.
So he does like a comedy special every 2 years because he's worked out his material, and he goes to the shitty places to start,
of course,
and kind of slugs his way up to get to his hour.
You got to figure out how it works, and you have to do it in front of a live audience. That's the way you get your reps in. You know, like you can listen to a song and know that you're doing good, but you don't rock a song until you do it in front of a fucking live audience. You know, the same way Led Zeppelin stole their music from whoever, and you know they had to wait to get in front of a live audience to actually perform it.
Yeah, totally get it.
I don't get it. Tell me more.
No, but I mean, it really does make sense. Like, you just got to work that shit out. And I totally get it, because you probably go up there and maybe it doesn't happen when you've done, 500 shows, but I'm sure like the first year, the first 10 times, the first 100 times you go up, you're just like a nervous wreck, and that energy is part of what must drive you to improve the material, to want to show up better.
We're all delusional. I remember the first time
let's just get to brass tacks here.
Yeah, exactly.
We're all completely delusional. And I remember the first time I did a 3-minute set. It was in LA. It was an open mic. There was 30 people there, but they were all other comics waiting to do their set. So you get 3 minutes, and you're like, fuck, I got this. I'm funny. It's 3 minutes. How could I not do good? It's fucking 3 minutes. And then you go up there and you tell, of course, you want to start off with what? You're not your worst joke, your best joke, right? And since there's 30 other comics don't give a fucking shit about you, they're just waiting for their 3 minutes. You tell your first joke and it sucks.
Wah, wah.
And then you're like, oh shit, I got to think of something funnier than what I just said, and that was my best joke. Oh my God. And then you're like, you tell
you're
a
in
joke.
your head, you like
tell
start
your
to
second
fucking
joke, try to get back.
mentally come unglued.
For sure. And then you tell that second joke, and that second joke doesn't work, and now all of a sudden you're getting the light, and you're like, oh fuck, I just wasted this time. Oh shit, I got 30 seconds left. What do I even say? Fuck this, I'm out of here. I quit. I'm gonna go kill myself.
Right. That's the cycle, the mental cycle of
every
a comic.
3 minutes of a comedian. You're like, I got this shit. I'm gonna fucking crush shit. And you go up there, and then you suck, and you eat dicks, and then you show up to the next one, and you do 3-4 open mics in one night, and you feel worse about yourself at the end of the day than you did when you started the day. You're like, why am I even doing this? It's because you're trying to feed your ego because your parents never paid attention to you.
But that's what makes you a comic, the coming back, right? Anyone can get on a stage and eat a bag of dicks, but to come back and do it again,
Dude,
to keep taking that punishment.
I've never heard Mike say dicks, by the way.
Multiple dicks, eating bags.
Let alone
of dicks.
eating bags.
That may be
of
the
them.
first cuss word I've ever heard him say, actually.
Definitely not true. I'm from Jersey, bro. So here's a good opportunity. Do you have a good bombing story to tell?
Oh, yeah.
So this was on my birthday in 2014, July 6, 2014. I remember this day.
Like Wesley remembered his date.
Very clearly, because it was my birthday. And I had been doing comedy for real for like only a few months at this point. And I was one of those guys who was like, I can't wait for a heckler. I can't wait for some stupid asshole or some dumb bitch to not shut the fuck up so I can just rip into them and tell them how much of a piece of shit they are. And this lady kept talking, and I just kept digging a hole, and she just kept talking. I was like, that's why you're gonna be single for the rest of your life, and nobody's gonna fuck you, and nobody's gonna want to have kids with you. And I just like totally just ripped her a new asshole for no fucking reason besides she wouldn't shut up, and we were at a bar mic in front of 8 people. But the best part about this is 3 weeks later, I'm at the bar right down the block, and this chick she hears me talking about comedy, and she goes, oh, that's so funny you bring up comedy, because there was this guy 3 weeks ago that fucking tore me a new asshole. She's telling me about me, and that was I felt bad because it was my birthday and I wasn't getting laid, and I was just mad. I was like, I'm 31, nobody gives a shit about me anymore. I'm in a city where nobody really knows me, and fuck everything and everybody, and I'm gonna take it out on this.
But that's crazy because, like, no,
woman.
you totally like see how you could get your head wrapped, but in a way that doesn't really represent good comedy or fair comedy, right?
I don't think I represent good comedy at all.
Well,
here we are.
Yeah, you're pretty funny, but I was just thinking, like, at the end of the day, there is a kind of an ethos, right? It seems to me. Like, I've been the target of, comics, picking on me. They're always looking for the guy or whatever. So it happens, right? But there does seem to be a kind of a nomenclature or way that you do it that is right, and then there's like just being a complete dick.
Being an asshole, and to like you really see. I've learned everything that I've learned the hard way. Everything I've learned, everything what to do by doing what not to do, and you really see that because there is an art to dealing with hecklers, because sometimes somebody just says something, and most of the time somebody heckles at a live comedy show, they think they're helping the show. They really do. And once you've done it enough and you talk to those people afterwards, you're like, what the fuck? What was the deal?
They almost feel like they're part of the show in a way.
They feel like they're helping the show. They feel like they're being part of the show.
I got that
in a
vibe
positive
too.
way.
I was at one of the big comedians who was in town and at Spreckles, and you could tell there's just that guy in the audience that just wanted to participate, and they were like, hey, let's kick this thing off. I'm gonna like heckle.
They generally think they're helping the show, or they're just really fucked up. Hecklers usually fall into one of two categories.
Like fucked up, usually drunk,
whatever.
Whatever. Yeah.
Just whatever. They're in the audience and they just like they're just not in their right mind. I've heckled comedy shows in like 2011, 2012 when I got free tickets from a radio station I worked for, and because I was just fucked up. I was drunk and had a couple bars of Xanax. I was fucked up, and I thought I was helping the show. So.
Tom Segura, that's who I saw.
One of the funniest dudes ever.
Yeah, he's pretty funny.
Yeah, and handles hecklers like really well too.
He does.
Speaking of,
there's 2 or 3 hecklers, and he just like, but he handled it like in a masterful way.
I think part of it is also like they don't like a lot of people, maybe comedy fans, they watch stand up on Netflix or whatever, but not a lot of people go to comedy shows or go often. So a lot of times it's someone's first or second like show ever, and they think that shit's okay.
Right. Yeah.
And they're not
to do,
right. They don't know the etiquette of like the room.
Etiquette, right.
That's why I get as an entertainer, I get the most satisfaction not out of just being a professional wrestler, but producing live professional wrestling. Because in no other form of entertainment are you told to be part of the show. Like at a comedy show, you're told to sit down and shut the fuck up. At a rock show, you stand there and shut the fuck up and listen. Church, you got to kneel down and suck the priest dick and shut the fuck up and listen. But at pro wrestling, it's a live comedy, action, drama, stunt show, all in one take while we're in our fancy underwear, and we want the audience to be a part of the show. And those are the shows that I put on too. I put on 32 live professional wrestling events last year in and around the San Diego area. And on all of our shows, it's get drunk and heckle. I book characters to elicit emotion out of people, because that's the best experiences and the most memorable experiences are either something you loved or something you hated. So that's why I love pro wrestling. So
did you learn any of that from Andy Kaufman? Because you would be sort of the son of Andy Kaufman.
Without a doubt. Andy Kaufman's one of my fucking comedy idols. And talk about somebody that took a lot of chances. Like if you really do any bit of research on Andy Kaufman, a lot of his comedy is like where alternative comedy was born.
Yeah, that's right.
He would just go on stage and like just look at you for fucking 5 minutes. You know, and like you're just like, what is? I don't understand this.
Like he must have got that idea in the shower or walking down the street or taking
but he
a crap.
got it.
And then he got it. And then he tried it.
And he was fearless about it.
That's
like
pretty
he
fucking
stuck
fearless.
to it.
Yeah.
Whether it worked or didn't.
Yeah.
He understood how important pro wrestling was, because you get to, like, as an entertainer, that's what we're all trying to do. Generally, we're trying to bring joy to people, but pro wrestling allows you to experience how to bring joy to people, or how to, bring anger to people, or how to bring, furious outrage from people, and that power. Oh man, when I get to be a bad guy, oh man, there's nothing better to get somebody to go, fuck you, I fucking hate you, and it's a lot easier.
But and you're sort of like in character, and you bring that about. It's like you've acted the role perfectly, so much so that you've actually gotten an emotional response.
I got them to forget that they're in real life,
right.
And they're looking at me and they go, fuck you. Where else in life you can't tell your boss fuck you to your face? You can't do that at church or at a rock concert.
And that's what spills out right there, right in that moment.
That's what it is.
It fucking spills out.
And then you got them. That's when you got them, right? As a comedian, you're trying to get an applause break. That's the best you can do. At a fucking rock show, you can get a standing ovation. That's the best you can do. But the best you can do as a pro wrestler, to get somebody to fucking hate you. And that's what I've found to be the most fulfilling as an entertainer, is not just being a wrestler. It's that telling people who's going to win and lose, and keeping the ever-going fucking soap opera of pro wrestling going.
It's
a hard thing to do, but
it's clear that like that defines who you try to be in that part of the role that you do.
Let's play a little improv game, since this is a comedy podcast. It's called Famous Last Words. So before the podcast, we wrote some names up on the board. We'll start at the bottom, since this seems
started from the bottom. Now we're here.
And so famous last words. We'll go ahead and I'll go last, and we'll start with Ronald, and we'll go Darren, Mike, and then me. So we'll name the person, and then you just have to give us what their famous last words were before they croaked.
We're all gonna do each one.
Yep.
Okay. So I go first with Andre the Giant.
We gotta go fast. Yeah.
Andre the Giant.
Andre the Giant would be like, "Oh, I thought I could shit that out." Ugh.
Oh, the air is thin up here.
Pass. I got nothing for Andre.
Didn't he die in his sleep?
Probably.
Muhammad Ali.
Do I gotta go first every time? Fucking you guys.
Well, we can go Darren this time, and then
float like a butterfly, sting
like Parkinson's.
Oh shit. This would be where I do a bad Sylvester Stallone impersonation.
I thought you were doing that the whole show.
That's just me and my downs.
All right, next up, Abraham Lincoln. I'm gonna say that his last words were, "Martha, do you think he's overacting?"
I hope nobody finds out I'm gay.
Winning.
All right, I'm gonna start with Sun Tzu. I hope they don't print this.
I don't know, something racist.
Low and slow.
Who knew all I had to do was kill a bunch of people to be a published author?
Ooh. All right, we're back to you, Mikey, with Teddy Roosevelt.
Oh, man, I knew I should have wrote some shit down. I don't know. How did he die? Cancer? He wasn't the one in the wheelchair, right? Wasn't that his cousin?
That was
I don't read
the other
fucking
Roosevelt.
books.
That was the other Roosevelt.
Man, I'm horrible at this. I got a good one from Martin Luther King.
Theodore Roosevelt, Teddy Roosevelt, he's the guy that
He was a president.
he helped create all the national parks.
Yeah.
Oh, good for him.
And a lot of the welfare stuff.
Yeah.
I guess we didn't call it welfare then.
You don't have anything for
I
him?
got nothing.
Okay.
Walk softly and carry a big stick, and don't put it in the wrong one.
Martin Luther King.
Martin Luther King.
God damn it, I knew he'd be white. I thought we were gonna go from the top, so I had one for the first one, and then you go from the bottom. I'm like, fuck, I didn't think of any good ones.
True improv, really keeping you guessing, huh?
Yeah, right. I know, right?
I would say that he said, I hope they name a street after me.
Damn, that was good.
All the streets.
I don't know. Pass. I don't have anything.
I thought this was going to be funnier.
Hey,
It sounded like a way
It's
better
improv.
idea when we were coming up with names for the podcast, didn't it? It sounded like way better of an idea.
All right, well, that was Famous Last Words.
That's what it
brought
feels like
you.
to do open mic comedy. Right?
Yeah, I got it. Right.
It's just like no laughs. Everybody's searching for something to try to be funny. And you're
Yes,
like,
yes.
fucking pass.
That's a hard muscle to work out, man. The improv muscle.
Straight up, dude.
Yeah.
That's what she said.
That's see, that was better than every response we had. Man.
I know.
Hey, well, I want to thank everyone for joining us on our first podcast called Last
The
Taco.
Last Taco.
Remember.
13th taco.
Seamless podcast, 4th, 13th, Last Taco. So we'll be doing these again. If you like what you hear, subscribe to us on our podcast channel. Check out at Dirty Ron McDonald. What's your next gig, or what do you want to tell people about?
Oh man.
And where to
Fucking-
reach you.
At Dirty Ron McDonald all over.
And that's Dirty Ron McDonald.
Dirty Ron McDonald all over all social media. I'm on stage almost every night of the week, wrestling or telling dick jokes to strangers to feed my ego.
And speaking of dick jokes, Wes?
You can find me Wesley Dwaine on all social media, and I'm out and about. I'm heavily focused on Ride Play right now, but I got a few shows here and there. My next major show is in Temecula, of all places, on the 24th of March.
Awesome. We'll look forward to getting this episode out and talking to everybody on our next episode. Thanks for doing this.
Good night, everyone.
Sweet dreams, baby boy.